Kowa and present his message. Thank you, Alistair.
You haven't heard me yet. I wouldn't clap too quick. Can you hear me? I am going to be normal. I'm always long, so don't worry. I'll try and be quick because I'm sure you didn't come to listen to me, but come for the food. See the cooking. All right, we're going to talk about diabetes. Should we be worried about diabetes? I think so. Well, tonight we're going to focus on type 2 diabetes. It used to be called adult onset diabetes. Remember that expression? It's no longer called that anymore. Why? Because young people and children are getting it. It's not just when you get to 50. There's a 20-fold increase in the risk of kidney failure. It has a 20-fold increase in the risk of amputation as a result of gangrene. It's no longer the mines in the war used to blow off the legs. No, it's sugar and fat. The Western lifestyle is blowing off the legs. And a 2 to 6-fold increase in heart disease or stroke. Okay, so the reason why it affects the eyes is because when the sugar, which all goes to glucose in the body, it attacks the little peripheral nerves behind the vessels behind the eye, okay? The little peripheral vessels are the most sensitive. The heart also is damaged by having excess glucose in the blood. The feet, peripheral, again. That's where a lot of people get gangrene and they'll chop off the ankle, then they'll chop off and keep going until there's nothing left. The kidneys is not designed to cope with the amount of sugar in our diet. So it destroys the vessels in the kidney. That's why you get kidney failure, okay? Understanding diabetes, what is it? It's a chronic disorder of carbohydrate, which is a chemical name for sugar, fat and protein metabolism, characterized by fasting elevations of blood sugar, glucose levels. That means the body is not handling the food that you're eating. And it's causing the blood sugar to elevate in your body. Now, normally when we eat food, blood sugar will normally elevate, okay? That's natural. But it's peaking so high and it's staying high. It's not coming down, okay? And I'll explain a little bit in this diagram in a minute. Diabetes can occur when the pancreas does not secrete enough insulin. So your pancreas is your main organ that secretes insulin. The insulin is the hormone that tells the cells in the body to take in the blood sugar out of the blood. Okay, so just say this is your blood. Here's your little sugar cubes. They come into the blood and they're meant to go into the cell. Now, insulin tells the cell, open the door and let it in. And then it takes it in, it goes into the engine and it burns it like petrol, fuel. That's what gives us energy, okay? So what happens in especially type 1, when the beta cells are destroyed in the pancreas, it does not secrete enough insulin, okay? But the most common problem is the next part, if the cells of the body become resistant to insulin. So, this little doorkeeper here doesn't listen to this guy very well. He becomes resistant. Okay, the communication between him and him breaks down. Now, if you've got a mobile phone, you'll know what it's like. You ever been in reception? And you lose reception, the 1 minute was clear, next minute... That's what it's like. Reception's lost. Okay, so if there's no reception, you can't transmit your message, can you? Insulin opens the doors to the cells throughout the body, allowing glucose to enter them. As glucose enters the cell, the blood sugar levels fall back to normal and the release of insulin tapers off. So, I hope you can see all this, so you've just had a meal, you've got glucose in the blood, that's meant to go through the vessels into the cell. You've got a little door here that allows that sugar in. And insulin is secreted by the pancreas at the same time that it's recognized that sugar is there. It sends a transmission, just like a mobile thing, if you like, to this door. Open up, let the sugar come in, and burn it. Now what happens is, if you have fat cells, too much fat on you, it acts like mountain ranges. I'm using the mobile phone thing, okay? So if you're going past a mountain, what happens? You lose it, okay? It's blocking that transmission. So the insulin is pumping the signal but it's just pumping back. It's not reaching its destination, okay? You're not connecting. And so what happens is the body says, listen, more insulin. We want more towers. Okay, so they put more towers up to make the signal, but there's too much mountains in the way, it doesn't work. And the pancreas becomes exhausted. And then it's like burnout, okay? And it just can't keep up, so it's pumping less and less because it's exhausted. And what happens all the time is the sugar stays in the blood. And it goes around and around and around. And the kidney has to get rid of it because if it stays in the blood, it's toxic. It's destroying, okay? It's destroying the vessels. So the kidney is on overload to get it out the urine. That's why people who've got diabetes go to the toilet all the time, trying to get it out because the cells in the body won't take it. It can't stay in the blood, so the kidney is going to get rid of it. Okay? Symptoms. Now, let's look at the symptoms. Are you hungry? That's a symptom. Are you thirsty? That's a symptom. Are you tired? We've got diabetes already. We've only got 3. Increased urination, especially at night time. If you're getting up 3 or 4 times at night, it's probably a sign that you've got too much sugar in the blood. Having sores that do not heal. You're not healing, they just keep staying there because the little vessels have been damaged. Infections, reoccurring infections, lowered immunity you can have because sugar decreases the immune system. Blurred vision because it's affecting the little blood vessels at the back of the eye. Burning, tingling, numbness because it's destroying the little tiny vessels in the tips of your fingers and your feet. Weight loss, and irritability and so on. So these are the symptoms, but some of these symptoms are like, no big deal, yeah? I mean, is it normal to be hungry? It is, but it's hard to know whether you're hungry or excessively hungry, isn't it? And thirsty, am I excessively thirsty? Well, I went to the toilet twice tonight, but I drank a lot of water today, you know. It's not easy to sort of fathom whether you've got it or not sometimes. That's why they have blood tests. But even blood tests are not always guaranteed to pick it up. So, let's have a look at some causative factors. Can you catch diabetes from another person? Like, can you catch the flu from somebody else? Can you catch diabetes from somebody else? I got you now. I want you to think something here. What if I said it was contagious? Who decided the food you eat when you were a child? Who decided? Your parents put the food in your mouth when you were a little one, yeah? They put the food on the table and you ate what you got. Well, in my day you got a smack. I don't know if you get it today, but you know, those days you had to eat or you got nothing. So, you inherited their lifestyle, whether you liked it or not, most of the time. You see, you've caught a lifestyle from somebody else. Now, if that lifestyle is good, then you're going to be alright. But if that lifestyle is bad and it's transmitted to you, you've already got a bad start. And if you further develop that junky diet, guess what? You may have caught diabetes by catching somebody else's wrong diet and lifestyle. That makes sense to you? But that doesn't mean it can't be changed because I don't have to copy my parents if their lifestyle was wrong, do I? I have the ability as an adult to change that. One of the number one risk factors is what? Being overweight. Okay, that's one of the major contributing factors to the loss of insulin sensitivity. And you know what I said? The more fat cells you have in your body, the harder it is for the reception, the signal to come through. Does that make sense? Now, women tend to put fat here on the hips because estrogen, the female hormone, drives it there. But even though it's hard to shift, this fat doesn't move in the hips very easy, as most women would know. It's very safer than this fat. What are you looking at me for? I don't look on the side at this time. It's a front elevation. But in here is visceral fat or tummy fat. Testosterone, the male hormone, puts it here. Now this fat is the most dangerous and the most problematic to blocking insulin. This fat here. Okay? They did some, there were some people in America, they were extremely obese. They tried every medication under the sun. They could not get their blood sugar down. They put them in the operating theatre. They just cut them open, took that fat away, sewed them back up. Diabetes was gone the next day. Well, I've got a less invasive therapy here. But it's this fat here that is the most problematic, okay? That just highlights how much an impact that has, okay? Obesity is the most common cause of insulin resistance in type 2 diabetes, simply being overweight. And we're not talking about being obese, we're just talking about overweight, especially around here. Having a body mass index over 25. Now this is my confession time, about 26.5 to 27. No. So I am overweight by about probably 3 to 5 kilo. But if you take in consideration the muscle mass, and that is probably works out. But really, I'm about probably 4 kilo. Let's go for 4 kilo overweight. Now, because I'm over a 25, I have a 300% risk of getting diabetes at this size. Now, the bigger I get, the bigger the risk. The most obese women show dramatic increases in risk, especially ladies here. Those with a BMI of 31 showed a 4,000% increase. That's huge, okay? Those with a BMI over 35 showed a 93-fold increase. You see, so the more you put on, the greater the risk, and the more chances you probably got it, or you're going to get it. Obesity, particularly visceral, which is the waistline, is an important risk factor for type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and there's good evidence that weight loss significantly reduces these risks and improves longevity in overweight individuals. So, the more you can lose around here, the better it's going to be, okay? Now, blood sugar problems are strongly associated with the so-called Western diet, because what's the problem, okay? The problem is what I put in my mouth and what I don't put in my mouth. Not just what I put in, but what I don't put in. That's the double problem, okay? It's lack of exercise, isn't it? Push buttons, the legs and the arms don't move, the heart's not beating as it should be. This diet is rich in refined sugar and refined carbohydrate. That's anything white. White flour, white rice, white bread, white pasta, anything that's been refined. Refined cereals, Cocoa Pops, all those things. They're all refined, okay? All the fibre and the brands have been taken off. You've just got the pure sugar left, really. Fat. See, diabetes is not just about sugar, it's about fat as well, okay? Because what does fat do? It actually blocks the insulin from working. Okay? Sugar stays in the blood, which damages the vessels. But fat blocks the insulin that keeps the sugar in the blood, that damages the vessels. And by the way, if you have too much insulin because you have this problem, too much insulin, hyperinsulinemia, is dangerous. Okay, it's a vicious circle sort of thing, So too much sugar, too much carbs, too much animal products, animal protein, which contains cholesterol, animal fat, and low in fibre. It is widely accepted that refined carbohydrates are among the most important contributing factors to diabetes and reactive hypoglycemia. Now, I say here, refined carbs, not complex, not whole grain, refined, okay? And it's not just having, you can even have a refined, see, a lot of Asians have white rice, but they don't have obesity rates like we do in the West. They don't have diabetes rates because they have it with a lot of vegetables and greens and fibre that holds that sugar as it goes through and restricts it, okay? Lack of exercise is one of the most important factors implicated in the cause of type 2 diabetes. The average person's diet is becoming richer in calories, fat and carbs, yet no exercise is done to burn off these. Okay? We're eating more than we're burning, and that's why we're having... See, I really believe if obesity disappeared from this population in Australia, so would diabetes. You wouldn't really have diabetes epidemic if you didn't have an obesity epidemic. One's just a symptom of the other. You would only have a very small percentage of those who had type 1 because the pancreas was destroyed, or a genetic disposition, which is a very, very small percentage. But the vast majority of us, we wouldn't know what diabetes is. Just like 30 years ago, we never heard of the thing. Okay? So let's look at some natural solutions. How long have I got? What? Oh, I'm going all right. Natural solutions. What's the greatest solution? Is it a drug? You think it's a drug? Oh. Lifestyle. What I put in my mouth. What I do with my body. Lifestyle modification that produced a relatively modest weight loss reduced the risk of diabetes by 58%. So changing my diet and my exercise regime gave me, I lost weight. And when I did that, reduced my chance of getting diabetes by 58%. Compared with a placebo, a reduction that was significantly greater than that achieved by metformin, which is a diabetic drug. So the diet and lifestyle was more effective than the medication. And guess what? The only side effects you get from eating right and living right are good ones. So you don't need to reduce your diabetes risk, you reduce your cancer risk, you reduce your heart disease risk, arthritis risk, okay? You increase longevity, the quality of life is better, go on and on and on. Let's look at diet specifics then. So there's a problem with our diet in the West. More than half of the carbohydrates being consumed by most Americans, this is an American thing, but in Australia it's the same, are in the form of sugars that are added as food to food as sweetening agents, okay? So they're sweeteners disguised in everything just about. And we're ingesting them all of the time, especially when we have refined foods. Nearly all refined and processed foods have added substances, okay, to make them tasty. That's why we go for them. I had to laugh the other day. I was looking at a cornflakes packet, and it had huge writing, like added iron. No, sorry, not added iron. A great source of iron, that was the word. Great source of this, zinc, or all these minerals, right? That is a big lie, you know why? Because that little cornflake of itself does not contain that. So what do? They've added synthetic iron and zinc into that piece of corn which contains nothing but sugar to make it, and then plaster. It didn't say, great source of sugar on the front of it. Why not? It's got more sugar than zinc and iron. Why didn't it say great source of obesity? No. It doesn't say that. Why? It just says great source of nutrition because it's just marketing. And we're so dumb. Oh, look at this. My kids need iron and zinc. I'll buy this here. We just don't think. And we fall for this as if they've got our good and well-being in their minds. No, it's sell products, make money. That's what they got in their minds. Okay, so all these artificial foods that are refined, anything you buy in a packet is pretty much have some additives. Fast foods are full of sugar. Okay? So white flour, make anything with white flour. Cakes, biscuits, donuts, you name it. White bread, white pasta, white rice, white sugar, they all got something in common here, they're white. Animal flesh foods, because the animal protein can be problematic, and also has cholesterol, high levels of saturated fat, high dense calorie intake, which increases again obesity if you're not burning the energy. Dairy foods the same, they're high cholesterol, high saturated fat. A lot of them are put with, you get a yogurt, and then you've got sugar added to the fruit yogurt. So it's always usually mixed with a sweetener. So all these kind of things are there. Soft drinks. There's a nasty little one. Fruit juices. Poppers. All those little things, I'll give that to my kid. They're just pure sugar, really. Okay? Most of the nutrition from the apple and the apple juice has disappeared. That's why they add a few things in there to make you again look like, added vitamin C. This is healthy. No. So fruit juices can be just as deadly as Coca-Cola. Okay? There's no fiber in it. It's just pure sugar. Right? Energy drinks, again loaded with sugar, lollies, chocolates, and alcohol. Beer, full of sugar. Even your wines can be problematic. Okay? So everything's been sweetened. So these are the things that we have to avoid. Why? Because they haven't got one ingredient, essential ingredient, which is called fiber. Now, if I draw your digestive tract here. You've just eaten a piece of food here. If it's coated with fibre, the fibre holds on to the sugar as it goes through into the bloodstream. It makes sure that it's a slow release. It just lets it off in little bits. Okay? It's like it wraps itself around the sugar and just lets a little bit of sugar in at a time. If the food's got no fibre, it's just like injection. Does that make sense? Just like injecting the sugar, because there's nothing to hold it. It's already been refined to a simple sugar. It goes straight in. What digestion does it need? Very little. But when it's held with fibre, it slow releases. It still goes in, but it goes in slowly, which doesn't give that huge spike. Okay? Because what happens is we're going up so high that the body takes freaks out and says, oh, pancreas, move it. Starts whipping the pancreas, insulin, more than you should be getting. And then it goes, whoo, down. And then you get a little bit, I've got to eat. I'm getting a bit shaky. I can't think. My brain's like, the boss is going to sack me, give me coffee, give me a biscuit. Something, you're trying to get it back up again. But then you go, whoo, back up again. And it's again. And you're like all day long. So, you need fibre because fibre holds on to the complex of sugar, okay? The reception's working here. We must be skinny enough in here. That's good. What's the best diet? Well, there's many types of diets. Even the Diabetic Association gives you a type of diet, which I would not recommend to my enemy. Right? So, the best diet, as far as I'm concerned, is a vegan diet. This was an American Journal of Nutrition. We compared the effects of a low-fat vegan diet and the conventional diabetes diet, which is recommended here, this is the United States. This was the recommended diet. Both diets were associated with sustained reductions in weight and plasma lipid concentrations, so fat in the blood and so forth, cholesterol, and the analysis controlling for medication changes. A low-fat vegan diet appeared to improve glycemia and plasma lipids more than did conventional diabetes. Now, the reason is because it's a low-fat vegan diet. Okay, there's no fat in broccoli. Okay, you're not getting fat in broccoli. You can't get fat in apples. You can't get fat in carrots. You can't get fat on legumes. You can't eat enough chickpeas. Honestly, you'd be like, you just couldn't do it. Okay. So all these foods are so dense in fibre that you just couldn't eat enough of them to stress the body out. But you can eat enough potato chips. You can drink enough soft drink. You can eat enough pizza. These can overload, but you can't eat enough of the wholesome foods. So when you're on a vegan, that means no animal food, no fish, no chicken. People say, I'm a vegetarian. Wow, yeah, I don't eat red meat, but I have chicken and fish. But chicken and fish is still meat. That's not a vegetarian. And people think chicken's better than beef, but who says? It has a very little reduction in fat content. Very little. And people say, well, I have fish because of omega-3. Yeah, but it doesn't just have only omega-3 in it, fish. It has all types of, has saturated fat in fish too. It has different types of fat. Everything has different types of fat. Fish has cholesterol. And fish, when I'm receiving fish oils analysis from the companies that give me practitioner products, they always send a brochure of they've tested for all these heavy metals and poisons. Why? Why would you test a fish for that? Because the fish is full of all the toxicity that goes into the sea. And they're testing, and they have to test by law. And they give me all the statistics telling me that theirs is the most purest fish oil in the world, See? So all these nasties in the animal kingdom, they're all sit in the fat of the animals as well. Antibiotics, hormones, they all accumulate stored in the fat, okay? So a low-fat vegan diet means no milk, no sour cream, no cheese. You don't get depressed on me now. No yogurt, no eggs. Everything that comes from an animal is gone. And it's low-fat. Okay? Because, look, olive oil is a good oil. It's a monounsaturated, but it's still a fat. It's still going to fatten you like butter. In fact, olive oil will fatten you more than butter. It's a healthier oil, but it will fatten you quicker. So, it's having a low-fat vegan diet. Now, when I say vegan diet, you could have Coca-Cola, a Snickers bar, a vegetarian pizza, a packet of chips, ice cream, soy ice cream. I'm still a vegan. Is that the diet we're looking at? No. See? We're talking about a healthy vegan diet. That means lots of vegetables, lots of fruits, lots of legumes, lentils, chickpeas, beans, all the beans. Okay? Whole grains, not just wheat. We tend to eat wheat because it's in everything. Rye, oats, millet, amaranth. There's so many things that we haven't tried. We've got to get outside the square, you know. Outside the box. Nuts. Not just peanut butter. Almonds, walnuts, pistachios. Brazil nuts. All the nuts have a variety. All the seeds. Flaxseed, which is linseed. Sunflower seed. Sesame seed. You know how those are the foods we want to go for. Because they're low, relatively low in carbohydrate. They're relatively low in fat, or they're very low in fat. Apart from the nuts, they're a little bit high. And they're full of fiber, as well as the nutrition, okay? Those are the foods that your body is going to be smiling about. Those are the foods that you're going to burn energy with and lose weight on. So clinical trials of dietary treatment with a primitive diet high in plant cell wall materials, that's vegetables and fruits and so forth, and complex carbohydrates, that's whole grain, low in fat and animal products, have consistently demonstrated superior therapeutic effects over oral hypoglycemic agents, insulin. So, the diet, a vegan low-fat diet, has always shown consistent benefits over some of these medications, okay? So we want to go for the veggies, we want to go for the fruits, legumes, whole grains, nuts, seeds, good oils, but not too many oils, okay? Not too many. Water, herbal teas. If you want omega-3, you go for linseed or flaxseed or walnut or hemp seed oil, not hemp. Stop, full stop. There's no full stop. There's no dash, comma. It's just hemp seed oil, one word. Nutritional solutions. What can I do to help me along? If I change my diet, is there anything else I can do nutritionally and herbally? Yes, there is. Compared to reference diets, consumption of high sugar diets increased urinary chromium losses from 10 to 300% for 27 of 37 subjects. When you have a blood sugar problem, you lose a lot of chromium. And chromium is a mineral that the body uses to regulate your blood sugar levels. So if you take a chromium supplement, it will help to regulate your blood sugar levels. Okay, it's very good, it's very effective. Within the past 5 years, chromium has been shown to improve glucose and related variables in subjects with glucose intolerance and type 1, type 2, gestational and steroid-induced diabetes. So all types of diabetes, chromium is very good. It increases insulin binding to the cells. So it helps insulin do its work, okay? Insulin receptor numbers, so it makes sure that there's plenty of these little guys working these doors ready to receive insulin. Which increases insulin sensitivity. So it actually just makes that transmission better, okay? And the more transmissions you're getting, the more doors you're getting open in your cell, the more sugar's going in and getting burnt, and less in your blood, and diabetes risk is dropping. Herbs. This herb here, Gymnema sylvestre, was used here. I don't want to read all of it, but it was used here in 22 type 2 diabetic patients on conventional oral and anti-hyperglycemic agents. They were administered for 18 to 20 months as a supplement, so they were still on the drugs, but they gave them the herb to see if it would have a difference on effect. And it says, yes, during the supplementation, the patient showed a significant reduction in blood glucose. Glycolated hemoglobin, glycolated plasma protein, and conventional drug dosage could be decreased. So when they were on this herb, the doctors could reduce the dosage of the drug, which is good. The less drug you... Some people may not be able to go off their medication, but if they are on it, it will only be minimal. Okay? But 5 of the 22 were off the drugs, just on the herb. Just living on the herb, okay? Here's another one. I've got to be quick here because I've no time. So, have we heard of bitter melon? Or bitter gourd? I would say that that's one of the best herbs you could ever try for diabetes. It is very effective in lowering blood sugar In one study, blood sugar control was improved by 73% of type 2 diabetics who were given this bitter melon. In another study, 15 grams of aqueous extract of bitter melon produced a 54% decrease in after-meal sugar levels and so forth. In fact, there's one study I looked at recently, I don't have it here. Bitter melon was regenerating beta cells in the pancreas to produce insulin. Bitter melon was helping the body to regenerate cells in the pancreas to produce insulin again. Bitter. Not watermelon. Bitter. Bitter. Bitter melon, yes. You'll have to get it probably, if you want the real thing, you'll have to go to the Asian shops probably. But you can get it in the herbal stores. Or you can order it online. You can get it in a powder. Whatever. It's a very good herb, okay? Cinnamon. It's not so bitter. It's a bit nicer. Cinnamon is a very good herb in order to regulate blood sugar levels. Okay? And that doesn't mean to say, look, I've got cinnamon in my donut, should be right. It doesn't work like that. American ginseng, have we heard of that one? It's also been used in diabetic patients. And just look at the bottom here, the red. American ginseng was found to lower the diabetes type 2 blood sugar levels when compared to the placebo. So these herbs have been scientifically proven to have a good effect. Now what about good old onions? Who would have thought onions would reduce your blood sugar level? Onions are able to lower blood sugar levels to a similar extent as the prescription drugs tolbutamide and fenforamin. Onions are equivalent to some of these drugs. Onions are 70% as potent as these herbs. As these drugs. Good old onion, eh? Psyllium husk, have we heard of that? It's a soluble fibre. It looks like crushed Weetabix, I suppose. And then you add it put it in a glass of water, you've got to stir it quick and down it because it will go like jelly. Now when it goes like jelly, that's why it's called soluble, it absorbs, you see. And you want it to absorb the sugars and hold on to it and let it go as the body digests slowly, okay? So that's why psyllium husk has a good effect. It also reduces cholesterol. It's very good for reducing cholesterol as well, especially reabsorption. I'm not going to go through this, I'm just going to tell you because time has gone already. Exercise. Now there's two types of exercise. There's aerobic, which is this. That's enough. And then you've got resistance, which is this. So one's sort of pulling and the other one's sort of active, okay? So you want to do both. You know, you often see people walking with little weights. Have you ever seen that? They're sort of doing both, you see. Aerobic and resistance. It's a great idea. Gardening will do the same if you're working vigorously enough. So the reason why exercise is so good to lower blood sugar in your body is because it does not, the muscles do not require insulin to get the sugar into their cells. All the other cells require insulin to get them in. But these muscles here are designed to take it in straight away. Use this, they've already got stored glycogen in there. Okay, they've got stored like sugar cubes already. So that if you get a phone call, you know, something's happened, you've got to run and you don't have to wait for the boy. Hold on, I've got to get some insulin going here before you can move. No, you're ready to go. It's got it. And it can take it in. Okay? So exercise is independent of insulin. Does that make sense? Muscle cells do not require it. They can take it already. Sugar, they just absorb sugar regardless of whether you've got insulin or not. So exercise is a very beneficial way of getting your blood sugar levels down. Now, I think I've got one more statement here. Exercise-induced glucose uptake in the skeletal muscle is mediated by an insulin-independent mechanism. So it's saying it doesn't need insulin to work, okay? But the actual signals to glucose transport in response to the muscle contraction have not yet been identified. They're not fully sure how it's all working, but it works, okay? So if we want to just summarize here, to defeat diabetes, we want a high-fiber diet, which I would recommend to be a vegan, low-fat diet. And that includes vegetable fats, okay? Olive oils and flaxseed oils as well. Don't put them high because a fat is a fat, okay? So whether I'm fat because I've had so much olive oil or fat because I've got so much butter, it's still going to interfere. It's still fat. Okay? Fruits, vegetables, and legumes, they've been on top of the list. Complex carbohydrates. So again, fruit, vegetables, legumes, but whole grains. Healthy fats. If you're going to have fat, try and have the healthy ones like flaxseed and olive, but not too much. Nuts and seeds. Low sugar fruit drinks. And I call a low sugar fruit drink water. Okay. Daily exercise, mix the two, and keep this guy under a BMI of 23. So for men, no more than half an inch around the navel, pinching. For women, no more than an inch. Standing up, not pulling it in, just let it go. And just feel and go, yeah, there's a bit much, or it's all right, okay? So that's what you've got to watch. Now, I'll tell you something. This doesn't happen in Australia very often, I'm afraid, because America is always a lot more advanced many times than we are. But there's medical doctors in the United States, they're also nutritionists. And they're using vegan, low-fat diets, and they're curing diabetic patients. Doesn't matter if they've been 2 years or 20 years diagnosed diabetes, they are curing them, reversing it. Symptoms gone, sugar levels are normal, okay? Now, what they're saying is don't underestimate the effect of a low-fat vegan diet on your blood glucose levels. Because what happens is you should never change your diet if you're on, if you're a diabetic without talking to your doctor first, who's got to regulate. Because if you change your diet to a low-fat vegan diet, it will drop your sugar so fast. If you've got too much medication, what will you do? You'll go to hypoglycemia, which can be dangerous. It's better to drop your medication first and then try the diet, because it's better your sugar being up a little bit on the short term. That's not going to make a difference, okay? It's been up for a long time. So if you're up and trying to work it down. But these doctors change within maybe 3 days to 3 weeks. The vast majority of their patients are off all medications. So it's very powerful. Just depends how far we want to go with it and how badly we want it. But it can be a lifesaver. Because I don't want to go blind, do you? I don't want to lose my legs. I don't want to get my kidneys failure and be on a machine. I don't want a heart attack or a stroke. Okay, so these are things we've got to think about. So I hope that gives a little bit of an idea of how to defeat diabetes. Now, I've got a little pamphlet here I scrambled together. It's only a draft, really. I have to go through it again. I just haven't had the time to go through it. I was going to say lazy, but I'll say I haven't got the time. That's politically correct. But anyway, it gives you sort of idea of what I talked about here. So this will be at the door and it's free. Now I want you to tell every Englishman a Scotsman gave you something free. Okay? Alright, Joe, I'm finished.
Thank you, Alistair. For those that don't know him, Alistair practices in the Riverina area. So that's there past Wagga. So if you ever get sick and you need him, you know where to go. It's a nice holiday place. Thank you, Alistair. Appreciate it. Can you also disconnect your computer so we can, thank you, and pass on the microphone to the girls. Well, girls, about ready. And I think the lady to start us off with is Rosetta. So as soon as she gets hooked up, she'll be down here. Okay, well, can somebody help him to move the Matthias? Thank you. Now, test of strength. Look at that. Well, I hope you have learned something tonight. How many people have diabetes here? 1. It's not bad. That's not bad. How many people don't want to have diabetes? Everyone. I'm glad about that. Well, tonight you'll learn how not to, okay? So make sure you practice it. So how are we doing? Lydia? Okay, are we about ready? And Rosetta's wired up. So what's first on the list?
First on the list, we're going to do some sushi. Sorry. How are you all? That's good. Thanks for coming back, and it's lovely to see you again. Tonight our first dish is sushi. And is someone here that's not familiar with sushi? No? That's good. Everybody knows what sushi is. It's a Japanese healthy dish. But we're going to do it a little bit differently. We're going to have, what was Alistair talking about? Yes, we're not going to have white rice. So we've got to live up to what was being told here. So you'd be surprised how lovely it will taste just having whole grain rice. So Rosetta will do the first lot of demonstration. And we're happy to have a good team in the kitchen. So I hope you enjoy it. You do. I'm sorry, I thought you already had one. I'm sorry, I beg your pardon. They're coming around. They'll be around in a minute. Normally you get them as you come in, so I wasn't sure. I was looking around and I thought, they don't seem to be looking at the recipes, and I'm thinking, I wonder why. I thought you were mesmerised by Alistair's speech, or his, yes, I was very much captivated by his talking. I love listening to him. It's definitely very interesting. Okay. Are we ready? We're ready to go? Rosetta's on? She's on.
Hello, everybody. Looking forward to sushi tonight. I'm not on.
Rosetta's not on?
What's this? Do the mic. Down.
Just a technical problem just here, won't be long. By the time you get your recipes, we'll be ready to go. It's a good thing that we waited to give you out the recipes.
Okay, we ready? Who likes sushi, firstly? Yes?
Oh, I'm glad.
That's good. Okay. Well, if you've never made it, it's very simple, actually. The hard part is chopping all the vegetables. So apart from that, it's easy, just putting it all together. The first thing that you need to do is to cook your brown rice. The recipe there tells you how to do it. It's also very, very nutritious as opposed to white rice because it's a whole grain and it's got all the fibre and everything with it. Now, once you've got your rice cooked, you need to cool it down. Otherwise, the sheets will fall apart when you make it. So you have to make sure it's quite cool, not cold, but cool, because you need to be able to use it, ply with it.
Rosetta, I think it's also, it doesn't matter if they leave it on the stove and forget about it for a while, does it? The rice?
No, the longer you keep it, okay, on the recipe sheet it tells you what to do. You put your rice, your water, your vinegar and your sugar and salt, you put it all in the dish, put it on the stove, you put boiling water. The water that you put in, you put boiling water in so that it starts the process quicker. You put it on the stove, bring it to the boil and let it rapidly boil for about 10 minutes. Turn it right down as far as the dial can go and leave it for half an hour. Don't take the lid off the thing, just leave it. Once half an hour's gone, turn it off, and in the meantime you can chop all your veggies and get everything else prepared. That way, by the time your rice is done, everything else is ready to go as well. Then you've got to wait, obviously, for it to cool down a bit. You can put it in a large dish and spread it out just so that it cools quicker. And then what we do, sorry, Lydia.
No, that's okay. I was just going to let you know that on what you have received there, your samples, one has got ginger, pickled ginger, and one doesn't.
Yeah.
So the pickled ginger is the pink in the middle. So you've got both there. But you can put anything else that you like. You can put avocado. You can put marinated tofu is really nice. So you can, yes, put many different things that you like.
Now the trick to making your sushi, when you get your sheets, I've got two different brands here. It doesn't really matter. But one side is smooth and shiny and the other side is rough. It's still a bit shiny, but it's rough. So what you do, the smooth side, you put down on your mat. Smooth side you put down on the mat. That's the part that you're going to see, okay? The smooth side is the part you're going to see. So you put that down first. And you bring it so that the mat, the sushi mat, it's just a bamboo mat thing. You put it so that you put it so the edge closest to you is right up together with the mat. The other side doesn't matter how far it goes. And then you lay it down. And the first thing we do is put our rice on. I have a bowl of water here just to wet my hands a bit so it's easier to use to wash down the rice. I put the rice. You can either use your fingers or the back of the spoon, whatever you prefer. I find the back of the spoon probably, you can't see it. Oh, the bottle? Better?
Can I hold it up for you like this?
All right.
Is that better now? Can you see it?
So what we're doing, we're just spreading the rice so that it's nice and even, and it's about, not quite a centimetre thick. We only put it on the first half of the sushi, the nori sheet. You only put the rice down on the first half. You can smooth it out so it's all pretty even, so that you get enough rice for the whole lot. Then you can just adjust it so that it's straight on the mat because you'll need to roll it. That's what you use the mat for. So you cover it half. Then the fun starts. You can put whatever veggies you like. Okay, you can experiment. You can put whatever you feel that you would like to eat in it. I've just got some lettuce. I just put that down first as the bed. Then I've got carrots. They've gone a bit wonky. I was sitting in water for a while just to crisp them up a bit. Carrots, cucumber cut into strips as well. 1 or 2. I've got spring onion, some sprouts, bean sprouts. You can put avocado. You can put tofu. You can marinate your tofu if you'd like so that it's not just bland. You can marinate it. You can cut that into strips as well and put that in. I mean, whatever you like. Then we've got the ginger. The more veggies you put in, the more flavour, obviously. So depending on your taste. Now what you have to do, you have to hold it with your hands, with your fingers, and with your thumbs, grab your mat. And then it's just a matter of bringing the mat over, and you just make sure all the vegetables and everything stay there. Now, once you've got it rolled this way, you need to put a strip of water just to dampen the edge. And that's going to be like glue to finish off your roll. So I'll just dip my fingers in the water here and just put a bit of water along that edge, say about 3 centimetres of the edge. And then you grab the top of the end of the mat as you're rolling so that the mat doesn't go into your sushi roll. You don't want to eat the bamboo. And that's it. And you put it down on a chopping board and make sure the seam where it's come together, you put it down on the seam so that that'll help it stick together. And then you can chop it up to whatever size you like. You can have bite size, the ones that we've given you today, bite size, or you can do a little bit larger depending on what you prefer. That's it.
Nice and simple.
When you use just plain rice, if you don't put the vinegar in it, it will stay quite firm and you don't get that glutinous stickiness. So that's why you need to put the vinegar in the water when you're cooking it. That will make it so that it's sticky, so that when you can layer it out and you can, it stays together, doesn't fall apart. Because if you don't, it'll just fall apart, it'll be crumbly, especially with whole grain rice. Yeah.
We're going to do a really quick chickpea salad that has a lot of flavour. So if you just bear with me while I just sort myself out here. I'm using, just for your benefit, you can use a tin chickpeas. And what I will do is I'll open a tin. I'll put that there. I'll just use one. I'm doing half a mix. And just drain out the juice. So when you get it, you're going to have like the juicy part, and the chickpeas, they look like little hearts. Does anyone not know what a chickpea is? Oh, I'm so happy. You're very with it. That's awesome. Okay, so just drain out the chickpeas from the juice, and then we're going to place that in a bowl. And the one that you're going to eat tonight, it was actual dry chickpeas that I soaked overnight, and then you cook it on the stove with a little bit of salt. And you can actually freeze that. So if you want to cook chickpeas beforehand, you can actually freeze it in smaller amounts so that you can just take it out when you need to use it. But for your benefit, in case you don't have time, you can still have chickpeas because you can still open a tin and it'll work similar. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a few different colours to it. So I'm going to add some corn, and apart from the flavour, it also gives the colour. I'm going to add some chives. The chives, they're like tiny little, you all know what chives are, little spring onion looking skinny things. So I'm just adding some chives to it. I also love the colour red, so I'm putting some red capsicum. Now you don't have to stick with these vegetables, like I've said before. You can just do your own, whatever you prefer. And then we're just going to give this a toss. I'll just toss this together, and you've got some beautiful colours. You've got some lovely colours happening here. Now the dressing, if you just like it plain, you can just add some oil, salt, lemon juice, and that's quite nice. Now if you want to be a little bit more inventive or give it a bit more flavour, we're going to make a special dressing, and I'm using some satay sauce, and this can be purchased from Coles. And Woolies, you can find them in any shop. And I'm going to also be using pure sesame oil just as a drizzle at the end. But for the marinade that I'm going to put in here, the dressing I'm going to put in here, I'm just going to use some lime juice. Now on your recipe it says one lime juice. So I'll put 1 lime juice, but I'm doing a half a mix, so I'll just put... And it says 2 tablespoons of the satay sauce, and that's what it looks like. And it smells really nice. It's really... I love the smell of satay. I love the taste. But if you are allergic to peanuts, please don't eat it, okay? Is anyone here allergic to peanuts? No? Oh, well, that's okay then. Because satay sauce has got a base, peanut is the base for satay sauce. Then I'm putting in some garlic. Now, garlic and onions are very, very good for your health. As you heard, the onion does wonders for those that don't want to get diabetes. So I'm just putting in some garlic today and some soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. And this is like our dressing for our salad tonight. So all we do is put that on top, nice and easy and quick, and it just gives you a complete different flavour to the salad, as you will taste it in a minute. And prior to this, we toasted up some sesame seeds and some peanuts. You can buy actually a packet of little crushed peanuts, and they really brown up quite quickly. So I'm just going to toss some peanuts and some sesame seeds in this, just to add to the flavour and to the look. Now, with your salad, I've used coriander. Now, I know that there is some people that don't like coriander. So they're in bigger leaves. It's a bigger leaf. So if you don't like it, you can easily lift it out. The tiny one is chive, but the coriander, it looks like this, and it'll be through you can just pick it out if you don't like it. But I love coriander. Some of my family don't, but I love it. I know my dad doesn't like it. There's a few people that don't like it. Sorry? You can put parsley, definitely, yes. You can put parsley. And what a beautiful colour does that make? Isn't that gorgeous? It's got all the goodness in here. It's got whole grains. It's got chickpeas are very, very high in calcium as well. So you've got a really healthy salad, and then just sprinkle a little bit of the seeds on top just so that it looks lovely, and you're ready to go. That's your chickpea salad. How do you like it? Is it good? Yes. I'll pass this around and you have a look. It's Yeos. Y-E-O-S apostrophe S. Sorry. Sesame oil. Yes, I forgot to drizzle on top. Just drizzle a little bit of sesame oil on top, and I'll pass that around too. This one is the same brand, Y-E-O apostrophe S. And it's 100% pure sesame oil. So I think it's going around, so it'll come up to you. Oops, sorry. I'll start. You can have a look at this from this side. Just pass it down. It is so simple to do. If you're in a hurry and you don't have time to cook, opening a tin is the worst thing that you've got there. And if you do have some already cooked in the freezer, you don't have to open the tin. If you have the time, you can cook it the night before and then make it up. But it's such a quick and easy dish, and it's filling and it's very nourishing. So that's our chickpea salad with a twist for today. And I'm going to continue on. The next item I'm going to demonstrate, it's going to be mushroom parcels, creamy mushroom parcels. Now, I'll just get my tray here. Okay, just get organised. Now, we've got a product that we sell downstairs in our shop. It's called mushroom seasoning, and it's 100% vegetarian, vegan. So if you are interested in buying that, I am using this particular item in my next dish that I'll be demonstrating as a flavouring. This is a flavouring. So if you just get sick of having the same flavours, like if you're tired of having the Marcel flavours, everything tastes the same, then go for something different. Try this. It's quite nice. So use it the same way. Now for this particular dish, I'm using mountain bread. Now who's familiar with mountain bread? Yes, definitely. It is so versatile. It's really yummy. And I'm going to be using mountain bread tonight as a casing for our creamy mushroom savoury. I'll just get all these dishes forward here. Okay, the recipe that I've done on your sheet, it takes one of these. It's 500 grams of mushrooms, okay, and anyone goes to Aldi's, they've got them, and they're good price in Aldi. So one of these I'm using tonight for that amount of. It goes a long way. If you have leftover filling left, just get some pastry and just make some pies or something else with it. So, and what I've done is I've cut up the mushrooms into tiny little bits. How long do you think it took me to do this? All day? No, I think some of you have seen this before, yeah? Okay. It took us a few minutes to put that through. And I'm going to show you how I do it. Okay, just for those that have never seen, this is called an alligator, and that's just what it does. It eats it up. It chops up. So what I've done is I've cut my mushroom in three, as so, and I place it in there, just like that, and it's done. Okay, so it's very simple, very quick. I've done the capsicum as well for the salad and anything else that you want to do that you want smaller bits. There are two fittings for the alligator. I'm not here to sell alligators, but I like to tell you about it because it does make life easier. There is another fitting which is a bigger square. It's twice as big as this. So, it's really, really fast and easy and quick to use, and if someone's sleeping on the job, you soon wake them up. It does make a bit of noise, so... Okay, that's my mushrooms done. So it's really, really handy to have. And you just open that up. There you go. Nice and finely chopped mushrooms. I've done my onions today in this as well. So they are sold at Kitchen Shops if anyone is interested and would like to buy them. But let's go back to our cooking. Now, I'm not going to use oil in my cooking today. I'm just going to do a sautéing with water, okay? So I'm going to put my saucepan on the stove, and I'm going to use water instead of oil. This will be, Alistair, you'll be happy to hear that we're going to use water instead of oil. It'll just help us with this. Maybe next time you'll see me, you won't recognise me. Tell you, it's a hard job. It's a hard job to get rid of that middle effect. Okay, so just put the water and the onion in the saucepan and just let it simmer there for a while. And then I'm just going to add the rest of my vegetables. I'll put my garlic, my carrots. Now, if you want to make some changes, you don't have to have the mushroom. You can do it with asparagus and corn and other things as well. Do it the same way, but instead of mushrooms, you can put other vegetables in, okay? Why I started that cooking there, because while that's doing it, I can show you what I'm going to do with that mountain bread. I'll just make sure all my ingredients are ready. Okay. Okay, that's just starting to cook there. So I'm going to use an olive oil spray. And what you do with your mountain bread is you cut it into 4. Now there's 8 sheets in the packet. So when you cut it into 4, and we're going to use 4 layers, okay? 4 layers of the mountain bread. So you'll end up with 8 little pockets or 8 little parcels out of one packet. Now you can make it smaller if you're having a party or something. You can make it smaller. The ones that we actually made for you to try, we use 3 sheets, not 4, and we use we cut it into 3 pieces and 3 across there. So, but for tonight I'll just use the 4 sheets. I'll just, where are my helpers? They're in the kitchen. I need to have a plate. Excuse me, girls. Could I have a plate, please? And also my tray that I do the muffins that's in the box, please. Thank you. Okay. Now, you can use the muffin tray, which is a really good size for an entree, if you're doing this for an entree. Now, if you're in a hurry and you don't have time just before your guests arrive, make it the day before and put it in the fridge, and you can actually put it in the oven and just reheat it. Okay, so it crisps up really nicely if you do that. Okay, this is cooking really lovely. It's bubbling, the water and the onions bubbling up nicely. And I'm going to add my garlic to it. No, I need something that I can cut. Yeah, that'll be fine. That's okay. And I just need the muffin tray. Yes, it's in the box under the table, please. Thanks, Rosemary. So I'm cutting this into 4 pieces. As so, okay? And then you've got your 8 sheets in that packet. That packet holds 8 sheets. And in between each sheet, I'm going to just spray a little bit of olive oil. Now, if you want to do a twist to it, you can actually spray a little bit of olive oil. Thank you, Rosemary. That's lovely. No, that's lovely. I should have brought that out earlier. You can actually put some herbs in between if you'd like to, just to make it taste a little bit different. It just gives it, when you do put herbs in, it will taste a lot stronger. So if you like it plain, the one you have there tonight, there is no herbs. So what I'm going to do is I'll just slightly spray the sheets, and I place them as such, just, not straight on top of the other, so that you get a nice, I'm not very artistic, but it doesn't matter. It'll still look lovely once you've got it in your tray. Okay, just add your sheets together like this, and then put it in your tray, and press the middle down. Okay, so you've got, it's not going to sit there unless I put the tray down. But that's the effect. So you've got a little pocket in the middle. Okay, and then you can use that for all sorts of different, whatever you like. You can make anything and put it in there, really. You can even use it for fruit salad or custard or anything that you'd like if you want it sweet. Okay, I'm putting in the rest of my ingredients into the saucepan. I've just done my grated carrots and capsicum. And then the mushrooms. I'm going to try and fit it all in here. It'll all go down next to nothing, so. Okay, and I'll just let that simmer a little bit. Now this is the mushroom seasoning that I've got. Oops. It's like little tiny granules. A little bit like, I'm trying to think what I could describe that. Just little tiny granules. Just put that in and just let this simmer together, and that will just go down quite a bit. I'll just continue doing my parcels while that's cooking. How are we doing for time? We're getting there, so it won't be too much longer. Tonight we had Alistair, so we thought, we'll give him a little bit extra time because he doesn't come up very often. So I hope you don't mind. And we're just going to rush through this. Okay, so I just repeat that with all my layers. Now, if you want to make it really quick, you can just take the layers, spray them, and then cut them. And then you just pile them up. if that helps. So, yes, I do, but I'm not going to spray them tonight because this is the non-stick. Yeah. So if you've got another muffin tin, you can spray it. Okay. All right. Now you can do the casings beforehand as well, so you don't have to leave things for the last minute. Okay, nearly done. So did you like it? Did you enjoy that? Was your bread crisp when you got it? Was it crispy? Yeah? Oh, good. Okay. That's good. It was crispy when it was baking this afternoon, but I wasn't sure if it just lasted until... Okay, so I've got my 4. I'm just doing 4 for now, just to show you. They're ready to go into the oven. Pop that in the oven for about 5-7 minutes, but keep looking at it because it could, and then another 5 minutes. So about 10 or 12 minutes in the oven. And it should be fine. 180 degrees. Yes? Did anyone try some of the recipes that I gave out last week? Oh, you're waiting for it. That's awesome. Oh, good on you. Yes? And they sent to me down to aisle 8. Uh-huh. Somebody else at the staff came up behind me and I don't think they because... Was it in the health food section? No. Oh. With the pasta and okay. Mm-hmm. Oh, there you go. Very good. Very good. This is how, that's awesome. Thank you. This is how it's gone right down. Okay. So when it gets to that sort of, it looks like that, then I'll put my parsley in. And instead of adding the flour to the milk, I'm just going to put the flour straight in here and just give it a stir. So I've got the flour. Just stir it as such. Can you see? Okay. And it'll just all mix up. Oh, my milk's going everywhere. The table's not very stable. Okay, now it looks like a little bit thick. So we just put our milk, our soya milk, in there to make it creamy. And that'll just thicken up a bit because the flour will just thicken it all up. And your filling's ready. Now this is really nice as an entree. It's also nice if you have a party to make the little ones. They're really cute. And like I said before, you can make it beforehand and just put it away. And it should be fine, no problem at all. Okay, now I'm going to just... I was going to put it on a little casing, but I'll just leave it cooking here, and I'll get Rosemary to come up and do the last item so that you're not too late, okay? So thank you very much for coming, and we will hopefully see you again next week. But just stay in there because we've got dessert to come. Spoon it into this. It's nice to have a little spoon. And you know those parfait spoons? They're really good because they've got the long handle and you can spoon it in nicely. Yeah, it works really well. So, yep. If you want to take... Just switch her off. At home it'll be good.
I'm not on.
Talk.
I am. Okay. Hi, everybody. Good evening. Just some of my ingredients.
I've got the other mic. Is that on? Sorry. Here I go again. There are different types of bread, as you may know. There is corn, there is a rye, there's a plain, there is a... So if you are gluten intolerant, you can all get, different ones. So have a look, because you can get different kinds in the mountain bread.
I might say tonight that I saved the best for last, some dessert. And if you've had a look at the recipe, it's a pretty healthy recipe. When you think of a walnut, what does it remind you of in your body? Brain, exactly. So it's a good brain food. And flaxseed, we learnt about flaxseed tonight too. The only added sugar is in the carob pieces tonight. And the maple syrup, it's a natural sugar, but it's still a sugar nonetheless. So you have to go easy on it, but you can enjoy it without feeling too guilty. Let's start. It says walnuts. I've already ground it up, just in the food processor. The majority of the recipe is walnuts. Wholemeal flour. Some salt. Already ground up the flax. I've ground up the flax.
What's flaxseed?
Flaxseed.
Yeah, what is it? What's another name for it?
Oh, linseed. Yeah. Linseed. I normally grind it just before I use it, but looks like I did it beforehand without realising. Pop in the carob pieces, which I also put through the food processor. Another tip with making the carob pieces, and when you put it in the food processor, if you have them cold or frozen, even better. That way they don't turn into mush. Mine weren't. So that's something I learnt this afternoon. So I have to crumble a little bit. But it's optional. You don't have to put the carob if you don't want. A maple syrup, which you can now buy from Aldi if you don't know, and it's pure maple syrup. You have to read the labels because there are some just that aren't pure out there. And some vanilla essence. All you have to do is give it a good mix. And this is me talking that is not experienced in the baking department, but this is foolproof. It works for me, so I'm really happy. You've got to get it quite moist so that you can roll them up into balls. Yes, thank you, Lydia. Okay.
We've got some beautiful ladies out the back. We've got some beautiful ladies out the back that are constantly washing up. So I just want you to give a big clap to these beautiful ladies out there. Thank you. We couldn't do without them. They're just amazing. And they're a little bit younger than me. So, yeah.
Okay, you just shape them, whatever shape you like. You can press it with a fork too, not that you can see what I'm doing here, I'm sure just to give it a bit more of a bit of a better look to it. My son, he is 21 years old and he loves chocolate, and he said to me, "Mum, I'll give up chocolate for these cookies." So I'm like, wow, that's really nice. I'm like, I'll be busy making lots of cookies.
Who doesn't know what linseed is? You all know linseed? Okay, very good. Flaxseed, linseed are the same.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that there's so many people here that know all these wonderful things. These are the ladies that help us out the back. Nima and Oma.
Anyway, I might stop.
That's okay.
I won't do it all.
Keep going.
Keep going.
It's up to you.
Maybe a couple more, but I think you all get the idea of how to do it. Are you enjoying your cookie? Oh, good.
There is a chemical reaction when you put salt and sugar together, and it does do something, and it's also good on your palate. It doesn't make it thickly sweet, it just breaks that down, but there is a chemical reaction, and you'll notice a lot of recipes say a pinch of salt. So there is a reason for it. I don't know exact details why there is such thing, but it does help with the actual... Yes, the sugar bean maple syrup in this case, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, Anne.
Yeah.
Okay, did you like them? They're Moorish, aren't they? They're really nice. Yes, I love them.
And just be careful. Aim towards the 10 minutes rather than the 15 minutes because they will burn very quickly. They will feel like they're not baked, but they do harden up when you let them rest a bit. So.
And they're full of nutrition. They really are. They're really, really good. Good to have, especially if anyone's got little children that are fussy with nuts and they don't like nuts and they don't like this and they don't like that. This is really good for them too.
I suppose... sorry, Lydia. No. I mean, you could, but it will be a very slow process.
It'll probably turn into a paste.
Yeah.
The walnuts will probably turn, because of the oil in it, it'll probably turn it in. It's a lovely thing to do if you want it a spread, but if you want it crumbly, it's better to just go food processor. Yeah. And then you can just switch it off before it gets too far. Yeah. Thank you, Rosemary.
No, you're welcome. No, I was just going to say, if you do have problems, allergies to nuts, you could replace it with sunflower seeds. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. Grind it up and replace that where you would the walnuts. It'll be a little
it won't taste the same.
No, it'll be a
but
different
it'll be a different cookie.
Or pepitas.
You know, the next best thing, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You could do a blend of LSA. Oh no, you can't have almonds. You could do pepitas and sunflower seeds and sesame seeds together and replace the walnut amount with that. Yeah. Now our little pocket's almost cooked out the back, but I know that it's getting late and we wanted to finish by 9 o'clock, so if you want to wait a little bit, you can. Otherwise, this is what we've got for you tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. And thank you for coming. Thank you.
I'll just take your mic off. Well, don't forget to try it out. So next week when you come, you can tell Lydia, yes, we have tried it. Okay? Now, I hope you enjoyed it. And as usual, before we go, we would like to ask God to bless us and to thank Him for this opportunity that we were here tonight. And I'd like to invite Pastor Matthias to come forward and offer a closing prayer. Yes, I think we have a number of people watching online. It's live streaming. So good night also, and God bless you too. Yes?
Okay, shall we just close our eyes and bow our heads? Dear Father in heaven, we thank you this evening for this time together. Thank you for your many blessings. We thank you for the food you provide us to eat to nourish our bodies. And as we think of our health, we pray that you will be with each one as they go their homeward way. that as they try these recipes and think of their health, that you will bless them, each one. We pray and ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Now, just for your information, Matthias is our local pastor here in our church. But Alistair, this maybe you don't know. Did you know that he's also a pastor of our church? So Alistair not only can help you in health, but he can also heal your soul. How's that, eh? And we'd like to thank him for being here too. So thank you, ladies, and thank you for coming, and God be with you. Help yourself, ask questions. Alistair will be around. If you want to ask him anything, you're quite welcome. Don't forget the little pamphlet. And if you'd like some books, you're welcome. And the shop is open downstairs. You also